Okay, I'm just gonna quickly check Facebook.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, alrighty. Welcome everybody. Sorry, oh gosh, it's been a crazy, crazy day for me. It's like 8 a.m. for you guys, but it's I think it's 11 p.m. right now for me. So I've had a whole day. But welcome everybody to She's of Love. Today, once again, we have Eve E. White, which I'm I mean, we both feel so blessed to have you on again. So thank you so much. Today's topic is about moving the body, and especially during these times, and just how crazy life is. I feel like every month the world just gets more and more insane to a point it's just kind of almost laughable, I think. So I think I'm just going to hand over the mic to you and let you, start wherever you feel called to.
Thank you. Good to be here. So I just wanted to start by just acknowledging this land that I am on. I'm in Bundjalung country here up in the northern rivers of New South Wales, and I work and live and play on this land that has been really cared for and nurtured for so many thousands of years in a very human way. Um, and I think that way is important for us to feel into as these human ways are getting lost. Um, and this Indigenous way of being and knowing is something that we can like hold on to right now and learn from and just bring into our day to help in these times of craziness. Um, so just within that, acknowledging that this relationship to the land as our mother, the sky as our father, the trees as um, our elders, and our brothers and sisters of the animal kingdom, um, grandmother moon, grandfather sun, and just to um, feel into this kinship that we have with nature. Uh, and that can help us when we start to feel into looking after the land, when we start to like see them as our, as our teachers, as oxygen that we're collectively all breastfed by the trees, and we give back in this reciprocity with giving back our carbon dioxide. And just that simple act in itself is a human act that we often forget, and get caught up in the whole construct of this modern day place, planet, time frame that we're in. So,
Yeah.
yeah, just acknowledging my own Wiradjuri roots that I have from Parkes and Dubbo. And I work in Bundjalung country with a lot of Bundjalung mob, sharing health and yoga and holding space, culturally trauma informed space for people. So um, I really honor this work that I do and benefit a lot from it and don't take it lightly. Um, and within that, I am here and just mother of four. Two of my kids are just in the back there waiting for me to take them to school. So the little one might come in. So if he does, he's super cute. I'm sure he'll say hello to you all. And so this topic that I felt called to speak to is just something that I feel is coming up in my little sphere right now, and something that when I learned about the beautiful secretions that we have inside our brain, it really resonated with me, and I often like speak to it and come back to it, and then there's been a whole, I don't know, I look at different people for my own like connection to knowledges, and someone who is vibrating really high right now. What's her name? Lolita Corrali. She's like a Hellenistic astrologist. And when I first came upon her work, I was like, oh my God, this is really intense. She was really, looking at all the dark places and what's happened to humanity and how, we're being siphoned for all our beautiful riches that we have within us. But she started studying with Flying Rainbow Lasagna, this woman called Aurora who teaches who talks about how she's a walk-in and she's come into this physical body 20 years ago to share her teachings of photonic light and the importance of moving and the importance of going into the garden and being with your plants and really what we are and the magic of what we are and who we are and how if we can tap back into that, then everything's okay because we don't need anything from the outside world to sort of keep us, I guess, vibrating high. It's all within us. So coming to like that pineal gland, which can be the third eye, Ajna chakra. There's thoughts that we used to breathe from this space in the Atlantean days. And then it's also like sun, to place the sun on your pineal gland is how we can activate the Christos, the crystals. I think there's like 13 crystals in there that we can activate. And then also to create that melatonin that will activate the melatonin that when we sleep at night, if we can sleep for 8 to 10 hours and if we can be in the dark, and especially this place needs to be dark for it to create that melatonin. And so that's the masculine within us. So it's a masculine organ that secretes that melatonin, which is just one part of those inner riches, the gold that is within us. And the other part that connects, and then also when we feel into like when we're born, like these, it's soft here and it's open and we're still very much living in the spiritual and physical until it closes up fully. Apparently, that fully closes or that connection inside fuses together when we're about 7. So that's really important for us in these times to, if we have trauma, to move through those traumas so that they don't then stay with us and become part of our makeup. So then we've got the pituitary gland, which is inside to the left behind the pineal gland. That is the mother. So the pituitary is like the father, the masculine, and then the pineal, sorry, and then the pituitary is like the mother, which releases the serotonin. And then that also kind of connects us into other places as well. And so unless this area of our body is clean and clear, we can't tap into other dimensions. It's like literally impossible when it's kind of calcified there. And then further inside in the third ventricle of the brain is the hypothalamus gland, which is what is like the child. It's like the baby that's within us, and that secretes the dopamine. And so mother, father, child is within and is what's being under attack, and is being sort of compromised, this mother father child union, on the outside but also on the inside of us. And when we start to play around with different kind of gene therapies and changing that which we are, that we've come into with the sex that we are, even, you can't really come back from that. And that's your unique divine blueprint that you've arrived here with. And so this being calcified by the water, the air, the chemtrails, the food that we eat, the blue light that we are always looking into. And so another way of coming back to our old way of being is to light fire and to get that red light therapy every day, every night, staring into the fire, so that it counteracts that. And then it also helps to stimulate all of these beautiful secretions that should be really naturally flowing. If they're not at a high level, then you're sick, or you will no longer be here. So the fact that we're here means that they're operating at a high level. And the fact that we know the big attack that we're under is that shows you just how powerful and amazing this human physical vessel is. Um, and so the other way for us to get this crap out of our body, for us to like cleanse this part of ourself, is to move, and to move in a way where you move, and you get all of the cells moving in your body, and you get to stimulate your central nervous system, and you get to literally detoxify all of the crap out of the body, the mind, the spirit, that can just get stuck. So really simple ways for us to um, you know, look after these parts of our body, that has a huge effect on every other part of our body. And then there's many moments in your day where you need to make decision, where you need to be able to discern as to what you choose to see, hear, think, speak, be, do. And in order to do that well, this area needs to be clean. And it's a battle every day to keep it clean, right? So it's like, even if you haven't, put different substances in your body on purpose, they come in anyway. They're still there, and um, there's every kind of way you move, breathe, eat, they're coming in. So toxins, heavy metals, but not only that, like um, things get stuck on our energy level, on our energy sheaths,
Yeah.
and like things that we see and read, and allow ourselves to take part in this what is it, this climax of this movie that we're witnessing right now, that a lot of it's not real. A lot of it is very fabricated and placed there on purpose so that this area is compromised, which compromises the whole of the body. Um, and so it's, coming back to that discernment of what we choose to believe. It's like, just take your sight outside, and look to nature, and look into the sun, and let the stars connect with your own stars that are within you, and the 12 strands of DNA that connect us to the cosmos and all of that. So it's complex, but it's very simple with what we can do.
Something that came to me while you were speaking um, was so like recently I had this kind of big sort of epiphany about how I've been so easily dumbing myself down to suit others so others understand me. And even just that affects your brain chemistry so intensely. I mean, I'm also quite a sensitive person, and I think I'm but anyone, like what you speak is what you are, in a sense, is what you create, not what you are, but what you create. And
Mm,
I it's because like I don't have too many people my age in my life that kind of understand spirituality and like are at a spiritual sort of a similar spiritual like belief system as me. And so many of my friends and the people that I talk to, I have to either not say certain things or change the way I say things, um, or not say things at all. Um, and then just the other day, I talked to a friend who was, she's like very spiritual, very awakened, very, just like an amazing soul. And I hadn't spoken with her in a really long time. It had been a year since we talked. And she called and we spoke, and I was like talking to her, and it felt like, oh my God, this is what I've been like, I forgot this is how I'm supposed to be like communicating. And it just allowed me to see, like, it brought me so much clarity because I was able to actually speak what I felt truly and like the deep truth of things. And there was so much that I, yeah, I saw in myself that I was never able to see before because I hadn't said it out loud to anyone because I wasn't able to. I always stopped myself. So even just things like that, I feel like this world is really hard to navigate when you're like one of us, like someone who's kind of aware and awakened to these crazy events and to life that's happening. Um, and yeah, there's so many things that affect it. Not that that's a scary thing or that we should avoid. I mean, we have to live. We have, there's no avoiding some things. Sometimes you're going to have to go to the grocery store and buy, like you're always going to have to run into heavy metals and chemicals and stuff and people messing with your energy. And it's always learning how to navigate it and choosing to see it, but not be afraid. And like such an interesting path that we all have taken in life.
yeah, and I guess like you can how do I word it? So what's coming to my mind is like I guess when you look at, like movies like The Matrix or other what's other ones where you kind of are like this superhero in your own movie, right? And you've got all these little tools in your tool belt, and you kind of have not this naughty little secret, but this great little secret that all it takes is for someone to go, hey, what do you, how are you doing that? And then to start to share your little superpowers with others. You don't even need to say it in the physical. Like people
Yeah.
just will watch, and you just be and do how it is you want to be and do, and people will start to be like, oh, what's like
Yeah.
curious as to what you're doing, and you can literally change the energetics with your own frequency. um, you don't even need to say anything. It's like when you're talking to someone like your friend, and in the physical, when you start to get like those tingly feelings on your skin, you know that that's like you're operating at that same frequency, and you're actually giving each other little upgrades.
Yeah.
um so just being really playful with how you walk in this world, because
Yeah.
like at the end of the day, you know it it's so much better than it is, and it's so much worse than it is. So it just depends on where you want to place yourself. The cup is half full or if it's half empty. It's like where you want
It
to
can be
play.
both.
in that
Yeah.
whole game where you want to place yourself. Yeah. So, all the little tools that you can use, just even setting yourself up to go to sleep at a time when you're going to get that maximum amount of sleep, so that I know that it's late for you now as well. um, as we're doing this, um, there's just so many little pockets of wisdom that we can take into our life and share with others.
Mm.
And
And do you, oh,
yeah,
sorry. No, you keep going. I didn't mean to interrupt.
so good. You go.
I was just going to say, to add to that, like choosing your, like choose, it can be both, it can be worse and it can be better. And you get to choose. And
Mm.
also choosing to see the beauty because it's always there. And just because, like, if you're not perceiving it, that's because you're not perceiving it. It's not because it's not there. Like beauty is in everything. And I'm living in a beautiful town in the Scottish Highlands. Actually, it's a village. It's not a town. They don't like it being called a town. Um, but it's like the coolest place I've ever lived. And the nature here is just like mind blowing. Like it's honestly insane. And it's very easy to find beauty here. But I struggled, I lived in Sydney for most of my life and I really struggled living in the city. But I think living there really taught me how to find the beauty in the small things. And, you know, I didn't have incredible views in Sydney, but instead I focused on all the flowers when I would walk home from the train station or something, and or like find little butterflies or, the little things that I could find. And I think that practice really makes like builds strength in in
Mm.
you. I think it's like a skill that everybody needs. When I look at people who are lost, or like, I don't want to say they're lost, but like, when you just meet people and you're like, oh, you feel they've lost their way a little bit and kind of forgetting about what matters. I'm really grateful that I've always cultivated these things of just finding little bits of beauty everywhere and in nature and stuff. I really think nature is like the core of everything.
It's definitely a great antidote right now. Uh,
Yeah.
and it's also like choosing your own adventure. I used to love those books.
Mm. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I was going to say that actually, that
uh,
beautiful, the beautiful thing I'm getting out of this conversation is the reminder that we get to choose. Like, we don't have to watch the news. We don't have to look at things that scare us. We don't have to, because when you look around your little part of the world, your house, your family, the people who are important to you, there's so much beauty in that. And then we sit down at night after dinner and we put on the telly and we start watching the news. And all of a sudden, our little world that is perfect in our eyes, there's a crack in it. And we start to allow our consciousness to look at these images. And we're told, and we tell ourselves also, that it's our duty to look at this stuff, to know what's going on in the world. And it's like, when did we decide that allowing ourselves to be aware of this stuff is our duty? It's
mm,
it's a choice. At the end of the day, really, it's a choice. And I say this because I've just had this conversation with a friend actually, who she has decided now that she doesn't want to watch TV anymore. It's not adding anything to her life that she
mm,
feels is of value to her. So she's decided she doesn't want to watch it anymore. And I decided that about 20 years ago, that I didn't want to watch telly anymore. And so I stopped. And I do not regret it one little bit. And that was, to me, for me, in my story, the first stepping stone in choosing better for myself and better for my family, and to allow our consciousness to rest in the beauty of life and to
Mm,
choose that for ourselves, so that we're not constantly being bombarded and our nervous system being disrupted by, you know, this, like you said in the beginning, Eve, it's a fabrication. Like, a lot of the things that we're seeing are not actually true, or they're
mm.
exaggerated, or they're twisted, or the truth
They-
isn't really,
They're
yeah,
staged. Mm,
staged. Exactly. And if I look out my window and everything's peaceful, and I look inside my house and everything's peaceful, that's what I focus on, because that's my world.
mhm.
And until you know, I see something going on in front of my face, I'm not going to put too much emphasis on that in for myself,
Mm.
because my nervous
Yeah.
system can't handle it.
Mm. Totally. And also, like, we have the TV, but now everyone has this, computer in their pocket. Um
Yeah.
and it's yeah, it's been kind of interesting just watching more and more pedestals uh get taken down. Um, and so, like, put yourself on a pedestal.
Yeah.
Put your husband or wife on a pedestal. Like, don't put someone you don't know and then blame them for
Mhm.
all of the world's problems, because it's like that
Exactly.
person that you think is causing all these problems, that person is a puppet, like,
Yeah.
whose strings are also getting pulled, and is just, playing out a role. um, and, like, I've also seen this whole, like, conversation that's been happening with people also in the limelight, but also in the sort of new age sort of limelight, and um, that energy being placed on, like, what are we doing in relationships? Like this open kind of relationship that's come about, that's like
Oh,
a
yeah.
new thing, but a very old thing. And then within that, the energy that gets trapped on us with different partners that people might have, being really mindful of who you choose to, be intimate with, because you start to wear their energy on you. um
Yeah.
so that's also something that, um as someone who works in a space where I'm always working with people in the physical, um, having practices that I can do instantly that are going to help with that disconnection. So I find that qigong really helps me to, like, get myself back to earth, to clear energy, to energize, to cleanse. And then simple practices of just diving into the creek, um, which I'll often do a practice before I go in the creek. Um, or, like, fire is a big part of our lives. We go to a cultural group every day and make fire from scratch, and then get blessed by the smoke. And that in itself is so grounding and connecting and cleansing, and connects you to, ancestors, to that other world. Um, yeah, so all of these practices, and then, like we said before, with the looking into the screen, to regulate back by looking into the fire, rather than looking at your TV. Go and look at the amazing light show that happens, under the night sky with the stars and the moon, um, and then, sun gazing, putting your feet on the earth, regulating, alkalizing. There's so many things that we can do, instead
Yeah.
of watching television. Tell live.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
It really
It's
is the phones. Like, it's, you know, mum and dad weren't lying when they're like blaming everything on the phone. It really is the phones. Like, I yes, no, 2 days ago, I went to a cafe. So I was getting ready to go to a cafe, and then I pulled out my phone and it was at 1%. And I was like, oh my goodness. And my first initial thought was, oh, I have to wait until I charge it. Like, I have to charge it up and I'll wait, and then I'll go to a cafe, and then I'll go. Because not because I wanted to, like, I wanted to go to the cafe, I didn't want to wait. I was annoyed just because that was like inherently my first like instinct was, oh, I have to literally sit and wait for my phone to charge in before I can do what I want to do. And I just observed that thought and I was like, am I being serious right now? Just go to the cafe and leave my phone here. Like, what am I even talking about? And so that's what I did. I went to the cafe without my phone and I brought my journal, and it was the best day ever. And it led to, it was actually that was the day I bought my jewelry kit, mum.
Oh,
And like I
cool.
actually had the courage. So like it brought up so much space of creativity, of just everything. I made some really big actions towards my dreams in that day that I've been like procrastinating. And there's been this jewelry kit that I've been wanting to buy to make jewelry and stuff, and I've been holding it off and holding it off and holding it off. And then that day I bought it because I like didn't have anything to distract me from, like, I was scared to buy it because it was a lot of money, but I didn't have any distractions. And I bought it. I'm so excited now. And yeah, it's all because I just left my phone on charge and I like gave myself 2 hours of just no phone. And so ever since then, every day since, in the mornings, I've gone and done something without my phone because I just realized what a control it had over my life. And it really does impact everything. It's crazy.
It is. We are really mindful with our children with the whole phone scenario, and I guess they do make music and they are creative with it, and that's something that I was, realized that my eldest, like a few years ago when he first got his phone, that he'd been on it all weekend, and I lost it at him when I realized I allowed that to happen. And then he showed me a song that he had made. Um, and it was like, wow, you made a whole track on this device. And so there's so many ways that we can use it for good, but it's so distracting with all the other things. So, I mean, something I do with my phone is I don't receive any notifications on my phone. I have to go into each and every space where you get messages to look and see. So I'm not always going to be very quick to answer, which might not, which just helps to decolonize people, right? When you don't
Yeah.
answer straight away. But yeah, I have to physically go in, and that just helps me with that distraction. And then, I mean, most people do these days, I think, but it's just my phone is always on silent unless there's something that I know that I need to like answer the phone for. So yeah, there's little ways. I mean, for me right now with the phone and devices, I am so over chargers.
Mm.
I'm like, can we just move on from this charging scenario? Like, I want my Jetson mobile. I don't want to have like cords that I need to like, I just, but at the same time, of course, I'm not ever going to put anything inside my body to
Yeah.
make it easier to navigate that. I'm looking forward to when we can all send messages back through that space in that pineal gland and tap back into that telepathy.
Yeah. That'll be cool. That'll be
What a
very cool.
beautiful, nourishing, gorgeous conversation. Thank you so much, Eve. I think we're at time now. Yes, we are.
Mm.
Yes,
Wow.
thank you, Eve, for coming on. We really, really love speaking to you. And I've learned so much today because I need to move more. So I'm definitely going to be making that into my, putting that into my daily routine and my practice.
Yay. So great to
Yeah.
hang out with both, mother and daughter. So beautiful.
Thank you.
You too. Thank you so much. We'd love to have you back on again.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me know when. Have a great
Huh.
day.
Mwah.
Yes, and
Bye,
thank you
everyone.
everybody for watching.
Uncle Bear.
Bye.
See ya.